and welcome. You're watching NewsX with me, Devika Chopra. A few days ago, suicide of a techie in Bengaluru left the nation entirely shocked. He had put out a 80-minute video accusing his wife and his in-laws of harassing him over a divorce. Now, 3 days ago, Puneet Khurana, a 40-year-old businessman in New Delhi, was found dead in his home in Kalyan Vihar. Puneet's family has alleged that his wife Manika and her family subjected him to consistent mental torture. He has left behind a 59-minute video which has now surfaced. In this video, Puneet Khurana has documented this alleged harassment, and it is similar to what was alleged by Atul Subhash. Let's quickly listen in to what Puneet Khurana had to say in this last video clip.
Final statement. I am about to commit suicide because I'm being extremely tortured by my in-laws, my wife. We have already filed for a mutual divorce on certain agreed terms and conditions. Obviously, when it comes to mutual divorce, there are terms and conditions which we have mutually agreed upon. We have signed upon in court. We have duly respected. We at least committed to respect the court and agreed to fulfill those conditions within the stipulated time period that is usually allotted by court for 180 days. Now we are approximately 90 days through to the stipulated time period. Another 90 days to go. But my in-laws, my wife, they are already pressurizing me to new set of conditions which are beyond my scope. They are asking for another 10 lakh rupees, which I don't have any capacity to pay off, and I cannot ask my parents to further pay it. They've already paid enough because of me.
Alright, so that was a clip of what Puneet Khurana has alleged in the last video that he's released. Joining me on the broadcast is Mr. Ellen Rao. We also have with us Dr. Swati Jindal, an AOR of the Supreme Court, Tahira Hassan, a women's rights activist, and Shoni Kapoor, a men's rights activist, with us as well. Let me begin with Dr. Swati Jindal. Dr. Swati Jindal, Puneet Khurana in his video says that there was it was a mutual divorce case, and that certain documentation and conditions were already confirmed in the courts, and that the courts gave a period of 180 days. But he says that his wife and in-laws began pressuring him with a new set of conditions which are beyond his scope, that they're asking for another 10 lakh rupees that he doesn't have the capacity to pay, and he can't ask his parents because they've already helped him out enough. How is it that if certain conditions are already agreed to within the court, that the wife and the in-laws at this point in time have gone back with a new set of conditions and clearly tortured the person mentally to a point that he's taken his own life?
What actually happens is that when once a matter is sub judice in court, we really are not in a position to say what were the terms of settlement and what were not. However, whenever divorce proceedings are continuing in a mutual divorce proceeding, there are certain terms of settlement that are agreed upon by both the parties, whether it is the husband or the wife. During the course of that agreement, there is an in-between period, which is also called the cooling off period. If one of the party resigns from the settlement that he has or she has agreed to beforehand, in that case, the only provision that is available to the other side is to file contempt proceedings. Apart from that, the parties also have the authority to take back their permission, or so to say, to not give their permission for the mutual consent. Now, whether they go back on the terms that have already been decided upon or whether they don't, it is a matter of their choice. The only thing that they're open to after that is an action by the court and contempt proceedings that will be initiated against them.
Okay, that's yes, Dr. Swati Jindal, that is technical. However, why is it that a Puneet Khurana then could not take this maybe to the cops or anyone else and say that, listen, we've already come to a conclusion and understanding, then why is it that I'm being asked to revise those conditions?
See, most of the times what happens is that the person is so burdened, especially off late. What everybody, I'm sure everybody has noticed is, and so have I, being in the, what do you say, the eye of the storm, being a counsel myself, practicing advocate myself. Off late, whatever powers or whatever laws that have been made in the favor of a woman, off late we have seen that a lot of them have started being misused. Now, the misuse of such laws does not mean that the women don't need them, because I feel that the women who are actually aggrieved are still in need of these laws. However, they're not able to get the protection from law. However, it is certain women who are already empowered who are misusing this law to their own advantage, and in the process, they end up so to say, harassing the man to such an extent that he is probably unable to handle the pressure that is imposed upon him from all sides, be it the legal side, be it the financial implication of all these proceedings, the multiplicity of the cases, which may be 4 to 5 at that time. There will be one dowry harassment 498A going against him. There'll be multiple maintenance proceedings ranging from section 24 under the Hindu marriage to 125 under the CRPC. Then there are various, CAW self complaints also. There is a domestic violence for sure that is going on. So the man is bombarded from all sides and he does not know where to turn to. On the other hand, he is also seeing his parents who are, again, in the thick of things, and he cannot bear to see them tortured to this level. And he feels cornered, and he feels maybe the only end to this misery for him would be an end of his life. And, thereafter, everything will be, so to say, sorted out.
Okay, let me bring in Mr. Shoni Kapoor into the conversation as well. Mr. Shoni Kapoor, we did see a lot of conversation around what needs to now revise as far as divorce cases are concerned, as far as settlements are concerned, when the Atul Subhash case came to light. Why do you think that just days after that case, there is another person in the national capital who's decided to take his own life when it probably could have gone some other way? Something else probably could have happened, given that there is now so much emphasis on the misuse of laws, especially after the Atul Subhash case.
Devika, first of all, it is a misunderstanding that this is only the second case which has happened after Atul Subhash case. In fact, daily news are reported in local media, local newspapers about one or the other suicide which a man commits. And if you look at the data, you will see that nearly 122,000 men committed suicide in the year 2022. Now, coming to what kind of laws are there, first of all, laws are made for protection of a certain section of society. I would say that whether it is women-centric laws, child-centric laws, elderly people-centric laws, or SC/ST Act laws, or disability laws, they are meant to protect. They are not meant to harass. They are not meant to extort. But what is happening on the ground is that because there is no misuse clause added to these laws or added to the benevolent provisions of laws, and I would say they are benevolent provisions of law because nothing else is required but a statement of the woman to say that to set the crime in motion. The strong need is to have a strong misuse clause embedded in these laws itself, that anybody who is found misusing these laws to extort, to harass, to bulldoze anybody in doing certain things, these I think the suicides could ebb a little. The second thing which I want to highlight is that Of course, the ex-CJI also on record in stating that Indian judicial system as of now is incapable of handling the family disputes, so to say, the disputes between man and wife. And whenever we listen about any divorce, somebody or the else comes up with the mental health aspect of the relationships also. The thing which Dr. Swati just said, that there are multiplicity of litigation, there is a strong need that these should be codified into one single thing. There is no need for having four sections of maintenance and having multiplicity. If there is a domestic violence act in which the 498 trial can be run, there is no need to have a separate 498 section FIR on the person. What happens in these cases is that because of multiplicity of the litigation, most of the men, and I'm talking about, when I say most of the men who are not in the upper strata of society, they tend to lose on their employment, they tend to lose on their jobs, their work is hampered by multiple visits to the courts. They don't have the capacity to pay for all these kind of litigations which are there. Unlike a woman who gets free legal service, a man does not get it, you know. And then add to it, he has to give maintenance, he has to give alimony. And whenever he agrees, such things like Puneet's allegations has come to fore, that they agreed for a certain sum, and the wife and her family was demanding more after first motion. I do not know the veracity of the claims, and I have not seen the complete video. I have only seen a snippet of it. So these things should be discouraged. In Delhi, there is, because of High Court judgment, there is a contempt of court case which could have been filed. But if you look at other states, the men don't have even that section aiding them. And in this case also, I think this section or this judgment, whatever Dr. Swati was saying, has probably been challenged, because there was a woman who was punished for up to 1 month of imprisonment, and the imprisonment was kept in abeyance. To the best of my knowledge, this judgment itself is under challenge. So the reasons are that there is multiplicity. Number two, there is only thrust on saving one particular section of society, that is women. I do not want to get into any debate about it, what kind of cases are there, how many cases are there. But what I know is that the number of men committing suicide because of these cases are far, far higher than the number of women suffering from these kind of cases.
Right, absolutely. Let me bring in Tahira Hassan into the conversation as well. Tahira Hassan, um, the number of these cases that are coming to light now does beg us to ask some very pertinent questions. Yes, it's important that the laws that were created to protect women continue to be in place, but when you hear the phone calls that are now being leaked and the sort of conversation that's going on, that his family, Puneet Khurana's family is alleging that the wife and her family was literally mentally torturing him at this point in time. Why do you think all of this evidence of phone calls, video clips, other such evidence is not taken into account or not being taken seriously enough for the men in certain cases to also breathe some sigh of relief, to say that, okay, yes, the justice system is also on our side?
Well, we all say that family courts are not well equipped to deal with these kind of cases. Not because of this, that all the laws which are made for the women are misused. You tell me which law is not misused, and who is that help in misusing it? Lawyers are there. They slap the false charges and all. So, but I'm saying that mental health is a problem. This aspect is never seen. The stress, when the stress is severe, that converts to the anxiety, and after that, that leads to the depression, and that leads to the suicide also. And the financial crunch, bipolar, mental illness, I mean, these things are to be taken under the consideration in family court. That is very important. And second thing, the data was given right now, somebody gave that more men are committing suicide. The NCRB data of 2022, 50% women, housewives, committed suicide. 61 women in one day committed suicide. One woman in 25 minutes committed suicide. I mean, it's not a thing. Women are suffering, no doubt. They are suffering more than the men. These are the women who are
Three times men commit
privileged
suicide.
women. No, they are privileged women, sir. They can go, they can hire the lawyer. What about our marginalized class women? So you want this is a tool for them. But thing is this, if she is culprit, the court will decide. You don't trust court, I have full trust in court. Court will decide, our honorable judges will decide. The evidence is that she asked the 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 50 lakh, whatever she has asked. On phone she has asked, or whatever the ways she has asked, that should be produced in the court. So she will be punished and put behind the bar. It's not that action. Again and again, I'm saying that if few women commit any crime or misuse the laws which are made by the struggle of the women, by
Yes.
women organizations, you cannot blame that all women are, you cannot generalize it, because our women are suffering. You cannot deny it also.
Absolutely.
And
No,
you
no,
go
that's
see
what,
any
Tyrasan, you have a point. Like I said, certain laws, stringent
NCRB
laws were,
data.
yes, the stringent laws
I
were put in place because
want to
women were
revert.
suffering. Shoni
Nobody
Kapoor
is
wants to
saying
respond
that
to
these
that.
laws should be done away with. My whole point was only one point I said there should be a strong misuse clause. Did I say that these laws should be done away with? I said there should be a strong misuse clause if there is a benevolent provision of law.
Yes.
What's the problem in that?
You are true.
And,
If they
and,
are
and, and,
misused
and
by anybody.
if I talk about
Yes.
data, 48,000 women committed suicide, 122,000 men committed suicide in 2022. The data which is in public domain as of now.
Okay, but I want to bring in Ellen Rao as well. Ellen Rao, why is it that then there is
NCRB data
no
2024, more
stringent
women committed
misuse
suicide.
laws against misuse in place that would at least uh, prevent some of these, we've seen Atul Subhash, Puneet Khurana, it could perhaps have prevented them from taking their own lives. So why is it that there are no stringent laws against misuse in place as well? There has to be some logic behind it.
Yes, stringent law is needed, and the psychiatric is also needed.
Yes, okay, but
Good evening,
yes,
ma'am. Good
Ellen
evening.
Rao, go ahead.
Yes, good evening, ma'am. First of all, happy New Year to everyone and to all your viewers. And that is really a sad case of Atul Khurana, and it seems to be
Puneet Khurana,
that
yes.
he was yes. It seems to be that he could not sustain the mental pressure which he was having. But as you asked about the misuse of law, we cannot. That I agree with Mrs. Tahiraji that we cannot generalize that every woman is misusing the law. Definitely, in some cases the law is being misused, and in that case, in so many cases where the misuse is being detected by the courts, then the court also takes suo motu action or action taken by the filing another case by the another party. So that misuse definitely should be stopped, and there are sufficient laws to stop this misuse. But unless and until it is highlighted before the court and the proper application or public application of mind is there, then and definitely that misuse of law should be stopped, because of this all other laws which are women centric, these are being criticized by the public in general. They are saying that women are misusing this law, but not every woman is misusing. But certainly, of course, certain women are there that they made all these women laws as a mockery. And I have also seen, because I am also practicing lawyer for more than 10 years, then I have seen that some these rape case or molestation cases are being misused by the women at a very very large scale, because they are being misused by some other settling their own civil dispute or settling their land or tenant dispute or settling some other things. And there are also cases in which they are settling these cases in the court after taking hefty amount of the money from the male component. That is available on the court also. If you go through the high court cases of settlement of these cases, and then you will find that these women settle these cases or compromise these cases after taking the hefty amount. So in such cases where these things are found, and these in some cases I have seen that the courts have taken suo motu action against these women. That in some rape cases, the women say that in investigations she says that she was raped, and in that court when she backed out her statement, then what happens? Then it's apparent that she has taken money from the accused, and that money is taken in so many other cases, so many cases, and that is most. If you find out the data, if you go through the analysis or study all these rampant misuse of law, then you will find out what is being there. But such type of women are very few, and they are known about it because of their action. We cannot say the other women who are really are being victim, they are also doing that thing. That these things should be separated, and in every case, in every individual case, when it is found that the woman is misusing that law in her favor, then that should be taken care of by the law of our land.
Okay, but Dr. Swati Jindal, your take on that as a lawyer as well. What exactly has gone wrong as far as the system is concerned? And as I asked earlier, why is it that more and more men are feeling as though there is no other option left before them? There, even in Puneet Khurana's case, he's put out a video in which he's described whatever actions were taken by his wife and her family and her sister as well. But at the same time, I'm sure over time he also had collected evidence to present before the court. So why is it that men are increasingly feeling as though the system is not willing to be fair in some of these matters?
We have seen that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. It is just a sad state of affairs that these laws, which were primarily made as a shield to all the women, they are now being used as weapons by them. So what actually happens is that, when you talk about why evidence is not being taken up now, we all know that justice delayed is justice denied. But at the same time, that we also know that justice hurried is justice buried. So by the time the stage comes when this evidence can be taken up, years pass sometimes. And why this passage of time is happening is, well, one of the reasons is that one party wants to drag on the litigation for their own benefit or whatever. Maybe lack of funds, maybe lack of interest, or maybe the fact that in most of these matrimonial cases, one of the parties just gets a lot of they get an immense pleasure. They are saying कि मैं और कुछ नहीं करूंगी, बस इसको बर्बाद करूंगी, और मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा, बस इसको बर्बाद करूंगा. So today, when a Puneet dies, we talk about all the atrocities that women are, doing to the men. Tomorrow, when a Punita will die, we will talk about all the atrocities that men are, inflicting upon the women. Today, the need of the hour is that we need to change our judicial system to such an extent, like Mr. Kapoor rightly pointed out, that we need a misuse clause. Today what happens is if a woman files a domestic abuse case against her husband, if she is unable to prove that, at the most her case is dismissed. What we need is a clause in the act that penalizes a woman who's found to have filed a false malicious complaint, so that tomorrow she will think twice. Today, in case you want to penalize a woman as a husband due to her filing a false case against you, you have to go ahead and file another case of defamation, so on and so forth. It becomes another battle altogether. So even if a man is let off because the woman was unable to prove her case, he's like, all right, bhai, मैं यहाँ से छूटा, मैं दूसरी अदालत में नहीं फंसना चाहता. So we need another clause in this very act, or in all the acts that talk about, women empowerment. We need clauses that sort of stop them or make them think twice about filing any false complaint. In fact, for a man as well. We need such changes, and we need, laws, and we need a system that is not hurried, but at the same time not so slow that years elapse before anything comes to the stage where evidence taking shall be done. So that these things can, people can move on with their life instead of embroidering themselves in years of litigation before anything fructifies from that.
Right, absolutely. On that note, I thank all of our. Shuni Kapoor wants to make a quick point.
The people who are supporting these laws, nowhere we say that these laws are not needed. The moment we speak about misuse of law, everybody comes and jumps and says that these laws are very much needed. No, it is not our point that these laws should be done away with. Please mind it. We just want a strong misuse clause, nothing else.
Okay, all right. That's all the time that I have. I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast. With that, we step into a very quick break.